It's 5:31, and I call this meeting officially to order. Roll call attendance, we have Aubrey, Bjorn, me, Brandon, Deanna, Greg, Joey, Jess, Josh, Lacey, excuse me, Sean, Eunice, and Zoe. Terry is in her class, as you mentioned, and Messina may or may not be here. We'll see. All right. Can I entertain a motion to approve the agenda today? I see a thumbs up from Jess, so that'll be a motion. Any second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Brandon. All right. For those of you not in the S&A committee, please do not vote on the pop-up voting item that's right here. And the motion passes. All right, can I entertain a motion to approve last meeting's minutes? Oh, there's motion by Jess again. Any second? Seconded by Zoe. And the motion passes. Okay, on to reports. I don't believe I have anything to report for you guys this week, so I'll give my time over to Brandon.
Yeah, thanks, Christian. Hope everyone's doing well on the second week of spring quarter. I don't have too much to talk to us all about, except ASCWU, we're currently working on a project to kind of finalize the CCI, I guess kind of more like, what's it called? Like the processing side of it all. I just want you all to know that we worked with the architect group that we were able to hire on with that previous supplemental request we had back in the fall quarter. And we now do have a finalized budget that has been shared with us. And we are planning on coming back to the S&A committee to kind of share what we have, as well as request an amount to complete the phase A, which is the first stage of the two-stage built, I guess, remodeling process of the old heat building. We're currently working with the CCI committee to kind of create that supplemental request. But I just wanted to let you all know now what's kind of coming down the pipeline in a couple weeks as we kind of work together to finalize that. So I just wanted to let you all know now. We don't have to ask any questions or anything, but I just wanted you all to know that the supplemental request will be coming from ASCWU as well as CWU admin to do kind of like the remodeling of phase A. But with that, I yield my time to Joey and Lacey.
Great. I don't really have any reports, just a reminder that the recommendation for allocations is still at PBAC, and they are scheduled to have their meeting April 13th. So next week I should probably have an update.
And that's about all that I was going to say, as well as what Lacey just shared. I mean, again, for those who are presented, we have one presentation tonight, and I know you already know this, Robbie, but I'll still say it because I say it to everyone. I'll give you a heads up when you get to the 2-minute or the 1-minute mark if you hit that in the chat, just so you're aware. But otherwise, again, as a reminder for new people here, again, we'll have public comment that'll come up here in which people can provide public comment at the 2-minute thing. Similar, if you hit time, myself or Christian will kind of let you know as we get to that. But otherwise, hopefully we'll have some more updates and things coming next week.
All right, thank you, Joey and Lacey. Up next is communications received. Any for this week?
Yes, there are the 3 that Aubrey sent to you all in advance, and so you should see the ones that are on there. There's the one that came in, and I won't necessarily go through and read these again since you've had them in advance. There was the one coming from the FOSSA Club that was shared with you all already. And then there were 2 others. One was in response to the questions asked of Kate involving community garden. And so I know that one, since we're going to be deliberating and voting on it, want to make sure you all have looked at and seen those that were passed along. And they were able to answer both of the questions, so they're there for reference. And then the last one that we had was just the follow-up that was, I believe, sent today, if I remember correctly, this morning, from a former student regarding concerning Wildcat films. And so those are the only 3 that we have officially received at this point.
All right, thank you. So up next, we have public comments. Any questions, comments, or concerns for the board, please show a digital hand and we'll get to you. Any public comment? All right, seeing none, let's move on to old business. And that is voting on last week's presentations. First one is the Wellness Center Path Advocate. So any discussion?
Well, and Bjorn, I know you're about to jump in there. I know we haven't had this, so I realize I probably should have given you all the preface of how we do this, since you all have not had us go through this yet this year. Yeah. So really at this point, again, similar to what we did a little bit, but on a micro level from base funding. The presentation last week, this is really where it opens up for you all as the committee members to bring up your pieces of whether you're saying I'm in favor of this, or I still have these questions, or I'm opposed to this request, but the chance for you all as a committee to deliberate on it, at which point, if there is going to be any motion to move forward, one of you all would have to make a motion to approve the carry forward or some variation of that, and then a second and a vote. If there's deliberation and there is no motion made, essentially that would mean that the request fails at that point. But this is the point where you all would first discuss your pros and cons for the motion to start with.
All right, thank you, Joey. And then Bjorn, you had your hand up first, right?
Yeah. For the path coordinator, I'm going to say, let's go ahead and give them the rollover funds, because I mean, they're so close to hiring somebody and they still have to work out an additional funding source as part of our recommendations given to them during deliberation. So given that it still complies with the original usage of the funds, and it's especially important to maintain the path coordinator position, I'm going to say, full rollover.
Thank you, Bjorn. Brandon, I see your hand up.
Yeah, thanks, Christian. Yeah, I was just going to say, I speak in support, same as Bjorn does. I know, there's kind of like some multiple reasons behind it. Honestly, kind of like consistency wise, it was awarded to them for the last 4 years. And then with just like the hiring freeze and the spending freeze made it hard for them to do it. However, now they're finally going through that hiring process and they're getting close to finalizing an offer for someone to actually be in the path coordinator position, which is great for the school, as well as for Marissa, just kind of the wellness center, since she's been kind of filling that position as well as her director role. So I know it is beneficial to the students. What I did kind of like want to say is like, we should do this, just kind of offer, kind of like that 1 year grace period, kind of like what Bjorn was saying, so that they can have the year to go through the process that Josh alluded to back during our deliberations, which is, I think, just called, I don't know, maybe like just the tuition allocation process. Lacey said that's right. So it's just going through that next year. So this kind of gives them that grace period to find that proper source of funding. So I would say we kind of say yes in support of this rollover as kind of one-time funding as they go to look for funding elsewhere.
All right, thank you, Brandon. Any other discussion points? Seeing none, would anyone like to make a motion? Bjorn, I see your hand up.
I'll move to grant the Oh, Jess already got there, so I second Jess's motion. Okay, yeah, that.
All right. For clarification, the motion in chat was to allow them to carry forward this request, and then Bjorn seconded. All right. And then we vote, is that right? All right. And the motion passes to fund the Path Advocate position. All right, up next we have the CWU Symphony Orchestra. Any discussion? Bjorn, go ahead.
Yeah, I figured I'd start us off. It seems pretty cut and dry, given that this was allocated already by a previous S&A committee. And then the only thing that stopped it from being used was the fact that the world suddenly exploded about a year ago. So it seems it seems fair that this is in the spirit of the original request, and there's no reason not to grant it.
All right, and Brandon, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I mean, really just going to reiterate kind of the same for the path coordinator, since it's the exact same situation. Again, yeah, it was allocated the last 4 years ago. So, it aligns with that, I guess, intent to spend it like it was supposed to in the previous quadrennium. So I do think it should be allowed for that reason, as well as it does give the music department, again, kind of like that 1 year grace period, as it allows the students to, I guess, who are here for that previous quadrennium to benefit from those funds, but it also gives music department kind of like that grace period to find new funding, whether that's not in our scope, but for them to kind of work out where the additional funding should come from for the symphony and orchestra travels from there. But yeah.
Any other discussion? There is a comment in the chat from Jess agreeing with Bjorn and Brandon, especially since this event was initially supposed to occur in the previous quadrennial. All right, any other discussion? Lacey, did I see your hand up just there? Okay. Seeing none, may I entertain a motion to approve this request? Motioned by Jess in the chat,
Yep,
seconded by Bjorn. And the motion passes to fund the symphony orchestra. All right. Okay. Final voting item of the night is the community garden at the Wildcat Farm. Any opening remarks? Brandon, I see your hand up.
Thanks, Christian. For this one, I know it's a little bit different because we recommended to fund this going to the next quadrennium as well, pending on PBAC as well as the president's decision. But for this one, I do agree with just kind of like the purpose of spending it, mainly to kind of have like an essential need out there, which is to kind of have a porta potty. And I think that's kind of what I wanted to clarify too, that this spending is specifically for a porta potty, which is very much doable and that they can do immediately with their funding, with that rollover. So I just kind of wanted to like clarify that as well. But that's what I would agree that we do approve, like the rollover, or I'm in support of the rollover, so they can have that porta potty and it would get out there pretty much as soon as possible, which is a great thing to hear.
All right, thank you, Brandon. Any other remarks? Seeing none, may I entertain a motion to approve this request?
I make a motion.
Okay, motion by Eunice, and I believe Brandon second. All right. And the motion passes to approve this request. All right. I believe that's the last bit of old business. Onto the new business, which is a request from Homecoming with Robbie Gunnanen. Robbie, whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Christian. Give me just a sec to share my screen all. Joey or Christian, may I have permission to share my screen?
I just changed the settings. You should be good.
Aubrey.
Okay, thanks, Aubrey. Okay, I know you all have sat through my homecoming presentation already, but I just wanted to share with you a little bit more information. So I'm here asking for carry forward for the money that is in my homecoming budget that, again, like most, wasn't able to be used because of the pandemic. But just a little bit of history on homecoming. It was actually funded on a student-led initiative by S&A over 20 years ago. So this has been something that has been on the students' mind, and it was to attract big name entertainers. So that was the reason behind the initial funding request. And I think Lacey's commented in the past about how homecoming traditionally came to supplemental, which was great. And I believe she also mentioned that because of how it plays out and falls in the fall, I would actually have to come now to ask for money for fall of 2022 because contracts for big name artists have to be done at least a year in advance. So that's just something to think about. Again, all doable to come to supplemental for future funding requests if we decide to. But again, just hoping to ask for what we currently have to carry forward into the next quadrennial. So homecoming has traditionally been funded by S&A and the amount of $47,888. Ticket sales make up the difference on how we pick and pay for a homecoming artist. And we always do a student survey that goes out via CWU Hype and social media platforms to find out what artists students would like to see. Usually I go out and get a small list. We narrow it down to 3 or 4 choices, and then we ask for student input. Students do receive discounted tickets, and they also are the first available to students to purchase before we go out to students, or excuse me, faculty, staff, in the community. Of course, the benefits of homecoming performer are that students get to see a performer at a low cost. The tickets usually stay about $20 or $25. And then our student employees get such an amazing experience while by being able to have hands-on. So they get to plan the event, they get to set up the event, they get to design the lighting, the sound, publicity students get to do videography, they get to do the posters, and just a few examples of the posters that have been done by students in the past. So homecoming 2021 is October 22nd, which is a Friday. I already have a signed contract for him, and we moved it from 2020 because of the pandemic. The plan is to have a show in Nicholson Pavilion, which can seat 2,000 plus. I have already had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Larson, our Kittitas County Health Director, to talk about what that looks like and contingencies. So we have contingencies in place, whether it needs to just be a student focus show, facial covering, social distancing, all those requirements will be accounted for and planned for as we move forward. And then of course I mentioned that students receive a discounted price and also first opportunity to purchase. So just wanted to lay out a little bit of a budget so you all can see where the money gets spent. So the homecoming artist for 2021 is $75,000. We do pay an agent cost, and that's our agent at CWU who goes out and actually negotiates the contract and the venue and all that information on behalf of CWU. So she does get a percentage of the contract. Campus police, safety and security, Flame Productions. We rent equipment and sound and lighting to make sure the show is as the best quality as possible. We do provide the student staffing experience, so ESS staff and equipment for in-house items and also staffing to help with all of those items. We do pay facilities management on campus to deliver the stage, set the floor and the chairs and things for us. And then of course, publicity has design and marketing costs that go forward with advertising on the radio, advertising with Wildcat Access, and also advertising in the local newspaper. So as you can see, a show, a cost of about $100,000. I'm asking to carry forward the $60,954 that is currently there in the homecoming budget. I'm anticipating to make up the difference with revenue. And I'm hoping at the end of this that I will have a whopping $954 left. So that's my goal, is to spend every penny to bring an awesome performance and experience to students. So y'all can see the ticket prices set forward. I'm hoping to release tickets in the middle of May to students first. That would give them opportunity to pick the best seats and get that close front row experience. I mentioned that I'm trying to, that my estimated ticket revenue is about $40,000. And last but not least, I just want to reinforce that the students really get an amazing experience. They get to meet the performer, they get to plan the lighting design, they get to set up the staging, the lighting, the pipe and drape. We have students who get to sell tickets to all the patrons. We have media students who get to do get to do phone interviews ahead of time. We get to meet them the day of. So this is just a few collection of all the students that get that firsthand experience. So CW Hype also always does a contest that week. So they do some sort of fun activity, and usually we get a few students who get to come to the meet and greet. So just random CW students, everybody's eligible, and whoever wins the contest gets to come and have that experience of meeting each of the performers. So I just wanted to share with you a couple fun photos of our students who've gotten to meet the performers, talk to them, take pictures with them. So really providing that student experience. So that is all I have for the presentation, and I welcome questions you all might have.
Are there any questions? Bjorn, go ahead.
Hi, Robbie. Could you forward us the chart you showed that broke down all the expenses? It just seems like valuable data to have.
Oh, absolutely. I will forward that right on to Aubrey as soon as we finish today.
All right. Thanks so much.
Eunice, I see your hand up as well.
Yes, hi. Sorry for the noise on the background. I am the grocery store right now. So my question is, the only thing I don't understand about, like, I really show the respect you guys doing amazing job for homecomings, for any events you guys doing for us is good. But the part I really don't understand, homecoming should be something that students should be celebrating their first year, second years, third years, and fourth years. But unfortunately, you guys focus on mainly only first year students, but you guys don't focus about the transfer students at all. Also, we already paying the service activities fee. Like as an international student, I am paying service activities fee for you guys and for also international office, which is I am paying $400, $500 a quarter. So why are you guys still charging the money for the homecoming for the students tickets? You know, this is I mean, for me, it's as a student perspective, is not acceptable. Because like if I knew that last year that my first year in the semester that you're funding from S&A and you guys still charging the students, I mean, I feel like it's not acceptable. Can you talk about, like, can you tell me the reason that why you guys charging students tickets? We already paying something already.
Sure. Thank you, Eunice. No, I appreciate the question, and that's a great thing that I probably should have included. So S&A provides a starting point for me. And as many of you know, lots of artists, whether it's a band or a comedian, the fees are expensive. And so we can get a list of, if I didn't charge students a fee to make up that difference, then we would have to go with a comedian or a performer at a lower price point, which is great. Some of them have risen to fame and we've been able to get some of those, but a lot of the students want to see somebody they know already. They want that recognizable face. So that is why we have traditionally gone with a $65,000 to $75,000 artist, because it provides that name recognition, which and then we see more students, staff, and faculty want to attend the event. So I understand your question about wanting, if I could offer it free, I would love to offer a free show, but then I would have to probably come to S&A and ask for more money and supplemental to cover the difference in which I would make up with ticket revenue. And besides the artist fee, there is all of the fees that come with staffing and security and requirements. Those artists come with what's called a technical writer, and they say, I do shows all over the world, and this is the type of show I want to put out there, and they have requirements that we have to fulfill as the contract provider. So that is traditionally why I've charged such a low fee. I know that it seems like a lot, but $20 to $25 to see that as particular artist is actually pretty reasonable compared to other institutions, as well as if you were to go out and see that performer in downtown Seattle or Spokane or in an arena of that type. So while I do understand the question of charging a fee, it has been able to supplement our budget and get those name brand recognizable artists to campus.
And Eunice, looks like you have another question.
This question is to Lacey or Joe. Is about that. You know, the fee we are paying to S&A, not S&A fee, sorry, the student service activities fee. Is that fee is also going to the department that asking money for the homecoming? Is it same department receiving that fee? And also, I just want to make sure.
So Eunice, are you asking if the homecoming budget is getting the S&A fee?
No, so I'm not talking about service activities. We are paying to we paying one fee for the, I don't know what is,
like the actual event, the ticket.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, I mean, I think Robbie, do you want to go ahead and well, so Eunice, what it is there is the S&A fee that we're talking about, the 47,000. Well, actually in this case, it's the 62, but the additional money that is charged to students and staff and community members does go back to the same budget to offset the expense of the headliner. Did that make sense?
yeah, but the thing is, sorry, I make a mistake because I was thinking we also paying another activities fees for the events that school is making for us, because for internationals we pay for activities programming fee. Then I just make a complication between S&A. So just forget it. My last question to you, just forget it.
And Eunice, it's a good question because I think a lot of students don't realize, but campus activities, I do oversee campus activities, and I do receive S&A funding in which I provide for no cost programming. And that's a big platform of mine personally, is to make sure that the money I get from you all for campus activities is free, is for free events that any student can attend. Homecoming is funded like from S&A as well, but in turn, in order for that specific event, I do need to charge the additional ticket revenue to make up that difference. But as I think Brandon wrote in the chat, yes, campus activities does receive S&A, and my big platform with that is to make that programming free and open. And I appreciate your comment about wanting to reach out better to transfer students. And I have been working on an initiative that with Megan and the Transfer Student Association on trying to find other ways to outreach to transfer students, whether that's within just campus activities as well as homecoming, and then also trying to re-engage those students that came in fall of 2021 in their second year. How do we get them back to make sure that they still get that first year traditional experience as they're headed into their sophomore year? So we are working on ways to try and get all of those students back and create that experience and connection with CWU.
Are there any more questions? Any in the chat? All right. Seeing none, thank you, Robbie, for your presentation. If we have any more questions, we'll reach out to you and we'll vote on this next week.
Great. Thanks, Christian. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for coming. All right. Up next, let's have a second call for public comment. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Jess is typing one out, I believe, so we'll give her a second. Any other comments while she's typing away?
No, but I'll fill in the space so it's not awkward. But good stuff.
You can encourage them to check in on the ASW election pieces
Oh.
if you'd like.
Yes.
Right. Okay, I'll do that right after Christian reads this.
All right. So from Jess, I'm not sure about the rest of the committee, but I would love to hear a supplemental proposal from the community garden about a more permanent restroom structure when they have the time. Not sure if the representative is still with us either.
We can pass that along.
Yes. And Bjorn, did you have your hand up?
No, I was just seconding Jess's comment.
Oh, it was a hand clap or something like that? Okay. Any other comments? Any questions?
Sure. I mean, I will just do a quick just ASU elections, just because I know some of the people who are in the galley as well as S&A are kind of curious about the process still. I had the dates not completely accurate last time, so I apologize. But what we are in right now with the ASU elections is next week is going to be the first public debate, which is where the candidates will pretty much have a lot of time to ask written out questions by the election commission, kind of just asking them, you know, what are they running their platform on, as well as relevant questions given the current time period. Thank you, Bjorn. Yeah, you just click on ASU elections. They'll have like an important date section, which will take you right to all the links you need. If you go onto that website and you go down to the public debates on April 14th at 6 p.m., there isn't a register to attend because it's a Zoom webinar form. There will be a public Q&A section there too. So if you do want to attend and ask the candidates any questions, you may. But that will be next Wednesday. So instead of attending S&A, you would attend the public debate. And then it'll be the same thing the following week. They'll have their second public debate. And then we'll go into general elections shortly after that. If anyone still wants to participate in the ASU elections, you can be a write-in candidate. You just have to reach out to the Elections Commission. They can get you a packet and they can get you squared away for that. There is plenty of time to do that, but just so you all know, important dates right now, next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m., we have the first public debate with the candidates. So yeah, you just click that link and you can register there.
Are there any other comments, any questions? All right, seeing none, may I entertain a motion to adjourn today's meeting? Motioned by Jess and then seconded by Brandon. And the motion passes. All right. Have a nice night, everyone. Thanks for coming out.
Have a great week, everybody. See you next week.
See you.